Welcome to the Greater Irvine Chamber Business Insights podcast series, where we address challenges and ideas for early-stage and entrepreneurial business leaders. Your host today is Dave Coffaro, Interim President and CEO of the Greater Irvine Chamber.
Well, hello, folks, and welcome to the Greater Irvine Chamber Business Insight podcast. And in our podcast series this year, we've really covered a lot of terrain. We've covered all kinds of topics that we think are relevant to our members and to the community. We've talked about things like attracting and retaining talent in Irvine, how to engage your employees, how to finance your business, fundamentals and networking, and plenty of other topics. Today, we're focusing on getting down to business in the city of Irvine, and specifically the ins and outs of doing business in our city. So whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or you're just getting started out, you'll walk away from today's conversation with valuable insights to help you succeed in our vibrant city. So our guests today are Hillary Ahluwalia. She's the assistant to the city manager, and Pete Carmichael, assistant city manager here in the city of Irvine. So Hillary and Pete, welcome.
Great to be here, Dave. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, so let's jump right in. I've heard from a lot of people that starting a business, getting licensed, pulling permits if necessary, and all the things that a business person needs to do before they get to building their business can really feel overwhelming. And I know that personally when I've started companies, and it can just be like, there's so much, and I'm not even sure what to do. I know that our city, the city of Irvine, takes a different approach to helping people start out a company or to move their business here. So would you talk a little bit about the city's approach?
Yeah, happy to, Dave. At Irvine, we really make an effort to go beyond the role of regulator. I think in most cities, you find that there's a regulatory role to play. Whether that's issuing building permits or, ensuring land use consistency or a business license. We're really trying to be a source of support for a small business or an entrepreneur, and really looking to provide solutions to help that business get open, get operating, and be successful. It's a work in progress. It's not typical for cities. We've come a long way, and we've got a long way to go. But we've really done, I think, some good work in packaging up resources, presenting them to entrepreneurs, small businesses when they come in, so that it's not just a business license, but it's a business license and an opportunity to learn more about what they need from the city, even going so far as issuing grants and providing really tangible support, which we can talk about in a minute. But Hillary, I know you've got some more information on our Development Assistance Center and some more detail with regard to helping small business.
Yes, we really do have a hands-on approach to customer service. And for all of your business needs, you can go to the Community Development Assistance Center, which really is your one-stop shop for everything that's business related, whether it's planning, licensing, permitting, or plan checking. That's going to be where you need to go. We really do want our businesses to succeed. And that's what the Community Development Assistance Center is set up for. We want you to call us early and often, and just walk into our center and get the help that you need whenever you need it.
Hillary, what's the best way for people to connect with the Community Development Assistance Center? Is that in person? Is it online? What's the best way to connect?
We're available in any number of different ways, Dave. I would suggest that a first stop is our website. We can answer 50% of the questions just with the information we publish there. But what I would really encourage people to do is to make contact personally. That's a phone call. The number's available on the website. We recently, in the last 3 years, switched to an entirely online system for permitting and issuance of any sort of regulatory materials. But what that's done is it's opened up our front lobby for one-on-one consultations. We really don't have big crowds coming in anymore. They're working through things online. But you can come into our Development Assistance Center and have a one-on-one appointment that involves the plan checker who's going to be reviewing your building permit if you're doing some tenant improvements, the planner who will, weigh in on land use consistency, and the business license specialist all in one meeting. and really learn sort of what are the steps with an initial meeting. So I guess a long way to answer your question, I would say go to the website first, and then please come in and see us, and we can take a multidisciplinary approach to getting you what you need.
Yeah, and we do have an online scheduling tool that's really simple to use. So the center is open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, but then there is an option. If you prefer to schedule in advance, you can get online and choose the exact team member that you want to speak to talk about your particular need.
That's fantastic. And it kind of bucks the trend because a lot of cities are going to online only. You can't find a person. It's super hard to find someone who can help you or can answer your questions. And for those of us in the business world, this is an exceptional thing for us, but for you, it's an everyday thing. So being able to talk to somebody who takes our extraordinary and makes it ordinary because they've seen it all before, that's really value added. And so, Pete, you talked about resources. It sounds like the human element is a big part of the resources, but would you touch on some of the other resources that the city offers to help businesses navigate the regulations, the permits, licensing, and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we're really proud of some of the grant programs we've had for small businesses and nonprofits in the past. And most recently, our participation in Irvine Tech Week. That's something we're really excited about having done and to do going forward. So last year, we actually held 2 events at City Hall. There was a startup resource fair, which the city hosted, and then the Irvine Tech Week kickoff was also at City Hall. And this is really part of our involvement as part of a broader theme of where we're trying to bring together businesses, capital partners, venture funds to provide a forum for networking and mentorship. It's a really exciting opportunity for us and for our community partners.
Beautiful. So, and for people to learn more about those resources, you mentioned going to your website. I'll also mention a plug for the Greater Irvine Chamber website, and through our app, we link to the city. So you can either go direct to the city, or you can come through the app or through our website, and we'll help you get to those resources. So what's the first step that someone who's considering starting a business here or moving their company here from another location should take?
Dave, we really do want businesses to make us their very first call. If they're starting a business, then the first thing they need to look into is zoning. Can you do what you want to do where you want to do it? Our planning team exists to help you do this. Then you're going to be looking at getting a business license, and our licensing team can help you out there. And if you've gone through all of that and what you're looking to do is to improve your tenant space, then our permitting, plan checking, and inspection teams are going to come into play. So we really do have all of these amazing resources are housed in our Community Development Assistance Center, which is why it truly is the ultimate resource for business needs.
One other thing I would add there, Dave, is we're really trying to become a navigational source for resources that come from the city or elsewhere. And we're not quite there yet, but we are pretty close to being able to launch up the hub that brings together not only some of the grant funding that the city has provided, in Larry's earlier point, but federal funds, SBDC funds, other grant programs, so that the city is a portal not just for the regulatory activities that are under our purview, but bringing in resources from city, other governmental agencies, and increasingly private sources as well. So more to come on that, something we're really excited about.
I think just that headline that you're more than a regulator, right? That's big because I don't think that people always think of their city in that context. So that there are resources, whether it's funding or guidance or support, that's truly a distinction. So I'm glad that you brought that up. What are some of the common challenges that you both hear from business people that when it comes to navigating doing business with the city?
Yeah, I think a lot of times, some of the actually the most refreshing moments for us as public servants is working with folks that are really starting from scratch. And so oftentimes you've got, let's just say, a culinary offering. And, you look at a lot of small restaurants that have started in Irvine from scratch, and they've got a family recipe from years ago, often from overseas. And they'll come in and really their passion is bringing sort of that culinary experience to the public. And really have no knowledge at all about things like the building code and sort of what needs to be done to that space in Irvine to make it available and get public occupancy. Land use, what sorts of places within the city can a restaurant go? The license from the city for a business, but also from county health for restaurant. So often the most common challenge we hear is just the unawareness of the regulatory framework that one has to jump through in order to get open. And so really, to Hillary's point, what we try to do is demystify that whole process. And whether that's a city regulation, a county regulation, or otherwise, get somebody in early to sort of give them visibility of all of those aspects to opening a business in a commercial space in the city.
That idea of demystifying is one that's meaningful to certainly our members and the community. I had a conversation with a restaurateur who told me that when he started his business, he was trained as a chef, and his expertise is in creating recipes and creating menus. He doesn't really care about the rest of it. He knows he needs to do it, but he said, what I love doing is making food that people like. So that you're helping demystify for the chef or the engineer or the code writer or the whomever to be able to navigate the things that honestly that's not their expertise. That makes this a much better place to do business. So that's fantastic. So along those lines, how is the city encouraging economic development and innovation, particularly for small or medium-sized companies?
Yeah, this is an area where we just started to kind of spread our wings. We were fortunate enough over the last 3 or 4 years to launch a couple of different programs that bring capital to bear for small businesses. There's a grant program for small businesses. We did a subsequent grant program for emerging nonprofits. And it was an opportunity to really put money where our mouth was. And that's been enormously successful in getting dollars into the community. The other thing we've started to explore is this concept of business incubator or accelerator, really taking ideas that are kind of pre-seed capital that are rooted in Irvine and bringing in resources such as office space, mentorship, business curriculum, and even venture dollars. And we've got a couple of partners we're talking to. We're not there yet, but we've got some really good ideas on the table to get that started. Going forward, our hope is that we can continue to offer grant programs, where funding is available, and then really with some of our stakeholders in the community, bring resources to bear in more of like an incubator, accelerator format for ideas based in Irvine and companies that want to grow in Irvine.
And we certainly have the spectrum of types of businesses, right? I mean, with those that are in the incubation phase to those that are national, multinational, global companies, which is really cool because so you take a look at a company that is startup, generally they tend to be super innovative. And where we see that connectivity between that innovator, that startup, and connecting with a larger company, that's fantastic. And this is a place that's really a breeding ground for that type of connectivity. So I think that's it.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. And I think, I think Irvine has long been known for being a hub for a lot of big Fortune 500s. And that's been great. It's a great source of high income jobs, and it's been really beneficial for the regional economy. One area where the city is trying to foster that growth is in more of a founder-based economy. So can we sprout the ideas here and keep them here and nurture them from birth rather than really hosting the big companies? And then to your point, I think a lot of what we see also is a lot of those ideas are spun off of these big companies. You look at some of the big biotech and medtech companies that are headquartered in Irvine, and there's all sorts of great ideas bouncing around within those corporate headquarters that we want to be ready to support if and when they spring onto new ventures.
Yeah, that is truly the essence of an innovation economy. So, would you share some examples of stories where the city's played a role in helping a business either come here or get up and running here?
Yeah, Dave, I was talking to our plan check team and they had some interesting stories. You really cannot stump them when it comes to the plan check process, which really does vary from business to business, which is why our teams want to get in early and help people with tailored plans. So Rivian is an interesting example. They faced a really technically challenging review process when they came to Irvine. So our plan check team had to get creative with them. You're dealing with electric cars, so you have the storage of electric batteries. So that was a really unique component to navigate there. And, when you're storing certain things at businesses that aren't traditionally needed, there's going to be additional steps to take, like a chemical class review process, which has to be coordinated with the fire department. So, just one of those things that your typical person is not going to be thinking of as they get so excited to start their business. But our plan check team, will let you know this is something you have to do, and we're going to help get you through it. Another interesting example relates to our data storage companies. So the construction requirements for them are very specific and not common at all. Apparently, there's things relating to earthquake protection and others that ensure equipment can be stored at specific temperatures. And that's just not your average everyday plan check, but our folks are very capable of helping folks navigate the plan check process.
One other just fun example from my time in community development is we had a restaurateur that was getting up and running, and much to your example earlier, Dave, it was it's a chef. It's someone who has a passion for cooking and cuisine, not building code compliance. And there was a real tight timeline because of their landlord. There had been some delays early in the process with their architect. And it came down to really needing to get certificate of occupancy to get that tenant in there ASAP, or else they were going to lose some financing. And we had an arrangement where we set up a Zoom call with the plan checker, the architect, the tenant, and our building inspectors. And we did a live building inspection going through the building, filming it so that we could give the permit in real time and meet the deadline by the end of the day. But it was just an example of really bootstrapping in that instance of getting that chef open in time to meet their financing deadline. It was a fun example.
It sounds like you are entrepreneurial partners to the entrepreneurs.
We try to be, and we're learning. We got a long way to go, but I think we're on a good path.
So in addition to being that kind of a partner to the business community, you're also a purchaser of goods and services, and quite a large one, right? The city's got a large budget. So what does it take to become a vendor in the city, and what are the benefits when a vendor is based here in Irvine?
Dave, I'm really happy to report that this is a really easy process. You just have to go to the city's supplier registration and bid opportunities webpage to register as a vendor. There's actually no fee at all, and registration doesn't even require a business license or a tax ID number. So if you're looking to start a business and you're just interested in seeing the opportunities, you can register to see those. And if you are a business, it's really important to register as a vendor because all of our informal and our formal bidding is performed on our online platform, and only our registered vendors are notified and invited to participate in bidding opportunities. So when you sign up, you get to check the boxes of what types of services and goods you're able to provide, and then you receive opportunities that are related to those options that you checked. Additionally, it's really important to register because not all of our bidding opportunities get posted. There are situations where our staff might ask our purchasing team to run a report for a business that offers a specific good or service, and then they're going to select a vendor from that list. So you can't get on that list unless you're registered as a vendor. So really important to get registered. Our local vendor preference program is really exciting. So basically, in cases where contracts are awarded based on the bid price, Irvine firms get a 5% price advantage. And where contracts are awarded based on a rated scale, they receive 5 additional points on top of the possible 100-point score. So you get this advantage no matter how the opportunity is being selected. It's really easy to register as a local vendor. You just have to fill out a form to receive that designation before you respond to a bidding opportunity.
So there is a home field advantage to playing in Irvine.
There is.
That's a plus. And again, so if somebody who's not even yet registered wants to go online and see the kinds of things that you buy, they can just go in and do that without even registering. Is that correct?
No, you do have to register.
Okay, you have to
view
register.
That. You just don't have to have that tax ID number yet or have your Irvine business license number yet.
So there's no drawback to registering because you can go in and see if there's anything that the city buys that you sell, any services you provide, and that home field advantage should be a big plus for all of our members here in the city of Irvine.
Correct.
Good to know about. Okay, so we're coming down the home stretch here, and so I've got one question left for you. In closing, what's the one message that you'd like our listeners to take away when it comes to doing business in the city of Irvine?
Yeah, I think we're here to help you be successful. Certainly we're a regulator, then that's what we have to do as a governmental agency, but we really want to get you to goal, whether you're a small business trying to open in a commercial space, whether you're an idea looking for capital, or whether you're, providing a service and looking for a business license. We really look to pair resources with regulatory insight. And then the last thing I would say is reach out early. The earlier you involve the city as a partner, the more we can be helpful to get you to goal as quickly as possible.
And it seems like the earlier you do it, the more challenges you avoid by learning the hard way that you didn't do it right. So I encourage all of our listeners, take this advice, reach out early. The city is here to help. I think that's a great way for us to wrap up this conversation. So Hillary, Pete, thank you for what you do for the business community, and thanks for being on today's podcast.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, great to be here.
Thank you for joining us for the Greater Irvine Chamber Business Insights podcast. To stay informed about upcoming podcasts and other important business news, please subscribe to our channel or check the Greater Irvine Chamber website.